Hi everybody, this is Laura Keisler, and I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about the second half of our work with you, which is the Access Coaching Opportunities. So everyone has already had their 2 trainings with Erica on the QRI-5, and now we're going to go into the second part, which are scheduling these days for our coaching. So before we go into what these coaching days are and what they're going to look like, I know that briefly on that first day I introduced myself to you, but to refresh your memories, I'm Laura Keisler. I am also faculty at Cal State Fullerton in the reading department. And if you're interested, I've attached my CV for you to the email that I sent out that had this link, so you can get an idea of some of the work I do besides teaching in the reading department. And the coaching and the professional development are really what I spend a lot of my time doing in addition to teaching my graduate courses. And so I've literally in the past few years spent time in hundreds of classrooms, and so what's really great about that is all the time that I spend in classrooms observing teachers and coaching teachers and just talking and spending time with them is that I have so many great ideas that I've seen in action from the experts out there in the classroom that I can bring together with what I know and share with you when we have the opportunity to do coaching days like this. So I hope that you're excited about this opportunity. I know I am. We had 2 great days of training, and I'm super interested to kind of go out and see what you guys do. So let's talk a little bit about what these days will look like. All right. So, like I said before, they're a follow-up to those QRI-5 trainings. So you're implementing the reading intervention program that you've chosen at this point, and then we came out and we did those trainings on the QRI-5, and you've gone out and you practiced them, and now you've got that information to go out and use in your classrooms. So what these days we hope will do for you are be a form of individualized professional development. So I know that we haven't had a ton of professional development opportunities in the past few years, particularly related to reading. And so we thought, well, we've got this month and we've got this time set aside, and so we could use this to really kind of focus in on answering some of the questions you may have about supporting reading development in your classrooms. So really, I'm asking you to set the topic. The topics can be really anything related to reading strategies. So if you have questions, not just about intervention, but intervention as it pertains to vocabulary, phonics, phonemic awareness, comprehension, writing, fluency, any of those ideas or things that you specifically want to work on in your classroom with your students, anything about implementing the QRI-5. So maybe you've gone out and you've gotten this data back and now you're trying to kind of put it into action in your classroom. You've had a couple of weeks to try things out. So do you have any questions around that? Are you looking for some ideas of how you do this, or how you kind of read the data, or how you follow up with the QRI-5? I can provide you some support with that. The intervention programs that you're being asked to implement. And so I'm not an expert on either of those programs as programs, but I do have a lot of experience with intervention in general and how you fit intervention into a complete program, so into the curriculum that you already have in your classroom. And so whether that's around how do I do this with grouping, how do I take this intervention program and make it more engaging, how do I target what's written or scripted in the intervention for particular groups of students, how can I modify and adjust, how do I monitor the reading intervention program. All of that stuff is not specific to a particular program, but I also can take a look at the program with you. If you have specifics kind of about the pieces of it, we can kind of look at that together and go through that, and I can help you work that out. So we can talk about the intervention programs as well if that's something that you want to focus on. Supporting English language learners, that actually happens to be my specialty, and so supporting English language learners, particularly as it relates to reading development, but I can give you some ideas in terms of general pedagogical practices as well for supporting English language learners. So if you have those students in your classroom and you'd like some more professional development or support around that, that's certainly a topic that we can explore. And student engagement in general is also something that I spend a lot of time with. And so particularly, of course, as it pertains to reading or as it pertains to grouping for the intervention or using the intervention programs, that's definitely something that I could offer you some support on. So you're like, great, I get to pick my own topic, but really, what is this day going to look like, right? So the day is going to involve a site visitation. And so the reason for the site visitation is that you guys have really unique situations. So you teach in different settings and environments. You have different teaching schedules. Many of you have multi-age classrooms. You're kind of all over the place in terms of the grade level of student you support, how long you get to support those students. And so we really have a huge variety in environments, and of course then the needs that pertain to those environments. And so in order to use our time most efficiently, me getting to go out and see you in action, see what you actually do, what your environment looks like, the types of students you're working with, and how you approach that is really going to make the time that we have more valuable and more efficient and more effective. And so that site visit is really, I'm going to have the topic sheet that you've already filled out. So I have some resources, or I have some ideas of what you want to get some support with, and then I can kind of go out and see how your classroom runs, right? So how your groups run, and how you work with students, and how many students you have, and I can get all of that information and I can see it in action, and that's going to make those coaching and feedback sessions that much more useful for you. So then there will be a coaching session that same day. So kind of the way that I envision this is that I'll get that sheet from you that describes what you want to work on. I'll come out to your site on the day that you choose, and I'll probably spend about an hour in your classroom, and then take some notes for myself in terms of how do I answer your questions, and how to from the sheet that you gave, and how do I kind of think you can best use some of the resources that you have, or some ideas for, how, let's say you're working on implementing the intervention. So how does it fit into your individual situation? Because one of the things that happens when you work with a large group of teachers is sometimes teachers then, they get professional development, and then they're like, well, my situation is unique, and this is how it works in my classroom, so I don't really know how this pertains to me. And so we're hoping that site visitation piece will kind of help make all of the coaching and the feedback really specific to your situation, because you guys have so many different situations and varied needs. So then we will follow up on that same day with a coaching session, so about another hour where we can just talk. And so we can talk about the questions that you sent, talk about what I saw in terms of your questions and the topics that you wanted support on, and then we can kind of move forward from there. So this is definitely not any kind of like formal observation or evaluation, and during the visitation I will take notes, but those notes are for me so I can chat about the questions and the ideas that you had given me ahead of time, so that we can have a really focused conversation during that coaching session. And so of course at the end I'll turn all of those note pages and feedback sheets back to you. There's no copies made, so I know sometimes that's a concern for folks when you come in their room and take notes, but really it's just so we can have a really focused conversation afterwards. So I'm going to need then a few things from you. And so there are attachments to the email. So the first attachment is the sheet going to move my screen over here. Give me 1 second. All right, so this is just the sheet that just gives me your name, your site, some information about your students, and then what are you interested in getting coaching around? Specifically, what are some of the questions you have? Obviously, the more specific your questions, the better feedback or ideas or resources or support I can offer you, and then any other relevant information. So do you think there's something specific I need to know about your experience, things you've tried before, your classroom situation, anything that's going to make the time that we spend together that much more valuable. So once you look that over, you can fill it out and you can just email it right back to me at the email address that I sent it to you on. You're going to choose your focus for the session, and then you're going to have a link to what we call a doodle. So a doodle is an electronic sign-up sheet. I'm going to show you an example from another group that I worked with in 1 second. So basically, you're just going to get this email. You're going to click on the link to the doodle, and it's going to take you to a poll. That poll will have dates and times that you can sign up for these sessions. And then you'll see, as you sign up, your name pops up. So you'll see in this example, Melina had signed up. Oh, you can't see it over here, but she had signed up for the 6 to 7 p.m. time. This is all from a classroom I needed people to volunteer in. You'll see Sarah had signed up for the 11:30. So you can just, as people sign up, you'll see what times they signed up for, and then you can choose the date and the time that you would like. So it's important, the reason I show you that you can see where others signed up is because I'm going to need your help on this a little bit. All right, so when you choose your day for the visit, I like you to look at the others who are scheduled for that day, and if you can, try to keep it local or reasonable for me to travel between those two locations. So you guys are kind of spread out, and so I know some of you only have from 8 to 12, and then others of you are at institutions where you have the whole day. And so the days that I've set aside for the institutions will be noted on that sign-up sheet, so make sure that you take a look and you're signing up for the appropriate day and time, and then see if there's anybody else signed up for that day. Keep in mind that I'll visit somebody in the morning, and then I will drive to visit the next person if it's at a different site, and then I'll come back to the first site and have the coaching in the afternoon so that I'm not interrupting your teaching time. So we're going to try to make the coaching kind of at a time when your students are not with you, so that we can not have to interrupt your instructional day. And so that's why it's also important for you to kind of look at who else is scheduled on that day, and is the amount of time I have to travel between them reasonable. So I will send out, you'll get that email today. So, or you've already gotten it if you're listening to this right now. So go ahead and sign up for a date. If you have any questions, you can actually just email me directly. So I'm going to give you the lkeisler@gmail.com and then my Fullerton address as well. So you can email me directly if you have any questions about how we're going to do this, or things that you would like to focus on. But as I said in the beginning, I hope that you take advantage of this opportunity. I think it's going to be it's a really great opportunity to have some individualized coaching time, and I know that I'm excited to get to know you a little better and to work with you.